Good afternoon, everyone. I think we all heard the topic. Hello, check, check. Hello, hello. Yeah, thank you. So the topic is pretty much heavy in terms of how do we build a framework to add a valuable digital experience and that too into a hybrid world. When we say hybrid world, it means how do an online and offline put together give a seamless and a cohesive experience to the end user. Right, so a big hello to everyone. We have a quite elite panel out here, and I would say it will be really interesting to see the perspective from the the finance, from insurance to agrochemical to agriculture and telco perspective. So I think hold back and let's have a more interactive sessions out here. Okay, so in this today's digital era, I think what customer expects is something which is of paramount, and we have heard so many panelists talking about omni-channel, social media, and C360 degree, ORM, CRM integration, and so on and so forth. I think the challenging part, what we are into is, one, the market is pretty dynamic, and with this dynamism, how are we able to cope up with with meeting the customer expectations? On an average, if you see the social media platforms, right? Is it a boon or is it a challenge? I'm sure we will have some answers over next 30 odd minutes. But average user uses around 7 to 8 social media platform on a month, right? So imagine the interactions and the expectations from the user is that if I give a response to from one channel or other channel, I should get there has to be an integration between the platforms. So having said that, I think the first question, do we need to have an introduction round? I think let's have that, yeah. Okay, I think I'll request Mr. Hari Bandaru to share his experience and introduce.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us today. I take care of CRM across the global applications, global countries at the UPL. So we have the Salesforce CRM. It is a single CRM application, maybe 2,000 plus users currently using it. So I take care of overall global CRM portfolio, yeah.
So it is interesting that another Hari takes the mic from Hari, and I'm from Future Generali. Generali is a 190 plus old, or I would say young company, long pedigree into the insurance space. We pride ourselves in being lifetime partners to our customers. I am responsible for the customer experience portfolio, which involves the customer service across all the channels, then designing of the experience across all the touch points, and also taking care of the insurance awareness, and when things go bad, then serving as the grievance redressal officer at the moment of truth.
Hi all, I'm Neha. I take care of customer experience, and I have a good experience related to banking, servicing, and also the broking part. So it's been a big, more than 2 decades that I've been handling this. So yeah, it's been a quite interesting journey and seen a lot of ups and downs and understood the client level interaction to the depth in this role. So quite excited to adapt the new digital era which is coming. That's it.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. My name is Ramit Mahajan, and I have about 25 years of experience in various facets of the value chain. Currently, I am looking after customer experience for the India, Middle East and Africa region for Henkel. Henkel is a pretty old, about 150 years old company into adhesives, beauty products as well as laundry products. And in India, we've been present for about 30 years now. Looking forward to interacting as well as learning from my fellow panelists. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to everybody. Thank you, DCX and Gain Skills, for this opportunity. I'm Rahul Joshi. I lead the analytics and automation function in the mobility network vertical of Jio. I've been a telecom guy through and through, over 20 years into the domain. What we are doing is we are trying to make sense out of this enormous data that is generated every day in Jio. Using our big data capabilities, all our analytics armamentarium to drive strategic initiatives that are primarily focused on improving network efficiency and, of course, improving customer experience. So that is the part that I am playing in my organization. Great to be here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Ranjit. I head the customer experience in Ninjacart. To give a brief context about what Ninjacart does, Ninjacart is India's largest agri-tech supply chain platform. We take fresh produce from farmers and take it directly to the businesses within a window of about 12 hours to ensure that the farmers gets the right price and also the quality. So that's what we are doing in India. Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Suruchi from Bajaj Group, the Kushagra Bajaj-led Bajaj Group, which takes care of 14 sugar mills in Uttar Pradesh and the ethanol part. So I'm glad to be part of this elite panel here with such experienced professionals. I take care of the digital and social strategies for the group communications. So again, like we are discussing the big data here, we have data coming in from the 5 lakh farmers, sugarcane farmers in Uttar Pradesh to our Bajaj consumer care consumers who are using the latest products and the skincare and hair care products. So it's a vast range, and I'm glad to be part of this panel to gain more insights from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so here we are. We discussed so many things about how omnichannel helps the customer, what are the strategies in terms of how do we build the 360-degree customer experience. So I think here is a time to understand how or what could be a successful framework, right, in today's era. And I would invite Ramit to share his views. So the question goes is that what are the key elements, Ramit, to our view, which help to build a successful framework in the digital customer experience, and how organizations are gearing up to meet those demands? Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. I think the question is great and very well framed. And this could probably be a very long answer, which, because the framework is, we have, within Henkel, we've been working on a framework itself, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to take a very long time, though. The way we've done it is, we're looking at the customer journey mapping. So we have an entire team focused on the various touch points for the customer journey. We are mapping all of that. We are looking at, we're looking at basically in terms of the various stages of those customer interaction, whether, whether at a scouting stage, whether at an ordering stage, whether at a delivery stage. So we are a manufacturing company here, so I speak from that perspective. And so the customer journey mapping becomes very important for us as one of the pillars of the framework. Customer persona development is the other, let's say, a pillar that we are working on. So we are trying to figure out a very, let's say, a very robust segmentation based on the customer persona, based on the priorities for the different kinds of customers. We are in the B2B as well as B2C space, and within that, again, there are various spaces. I'm not going to go into those details, but trying to understand the customer persona, trying to understand what gets the customer to interact with us, which segment, which departments of the customers would be interacting with us in the case of B2B and so on. Feedback mechanisms, that's the third pillar for us. So we have a fairly robust way of collecting feedback from customers. We are doing it at various stages, especially at the touch points, and also when we, let's say, when we are receiving the orders, when we are delivering the materials and so on. Omni-channel integration, I think there's a lot that's already been talked about, so I'm not going to go into too many details, but I think it is very important to have a cohesive, coherent strategy, that kind of looks at all the channels that we interact with the customers with. And finally, I think the emotional connect. I think what's also very important is to understand the kind of emotional connect that the customer has with us. Are they really, do they feel, that connected with the brand? Do they feel connected with the products? And, to get that understanding, I would say, these 5 pillars form a framework for us within Henkel, and I think it's serving us quite well. I hope that gives you.
Thank you, Ramit.
Thank you.
So, Ramit, you spoke about the customer mapping and customer persona, right? So, when you create a persona, is it both for an online and an offline mode, so that you get a right perspective? Can you throw some more light on that, so that?
Yes, absolutely. So we are doing it for the online customers as well as the offline customers. So we are, the way we call it 360-degree segmentation. So what that means is, I mean, the historical way to kind of build this persona has been, the large customers versus the small ones, and so on. What we are trying to do is we are trying to go a step deeper than that, taking care of the new age tools and trying to understand the patterns in which we are, in which the customers are ordering to us, the patterns in which they are, let's say, picking up the material, the patterns, so for us, we are kind of trying to build it much wider than the historical way that this persona has been developed. And I think it's been quite positive so far.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we heard what are the key 3 elements, and I'm sure this will largely help in multiple industries, not only in manufacturing. While we implement certain elements in the other industries, I think technology plays a critical role in terms of enabler. How the mapping is being done, and what are the automation or digital automation which you need to do internally, right? So I think my next question is to Ms. Suruchi, in terms of how organizations leverage technology, be it chatbot, AI, humanoid, right, in this digital environment, and what are your thoughts in terms of how it first, one, how it helps in terms of building the entire digital landscape, and 2, do you really feel that is a cohesive experience which goes back to the B2B or B2B2C customer?
Right, so like we are all would agree now that it is a digital world now where we all are connected to each other. We are willing to experience what another person sitting in some other country or a remote working environment for that matter is experiencing. Starting from our kids, like even in schools we see that now the digital technology is being leveraged to give different digital experiences to our kids. So again, like we are talking about the positive part of technology, it definitely, nobody today can disagree that technology is adding value to our experiences in today's time. And how we are able to use that data for our business world today, I would say, is because we can understand our consumers better. That is one major, because we all want to give those positive experiences and the kind of relationship that we want to build with our customers. I think data helps us to do that. All our consumer funnels, the points where we can understand our consumer behaviors with the help of technology today is really helping us make better business strategies for that matter. And I think with chatbots, humanoids today, we can automate our business to a certain extent where we can understand our consumers better. And it also saves a lot of time and the turnaround time for that matter, which makes the customer also feel valued. Because today, time is something that is not in our control, I can say. There are so many things that we want to do in those 24 hours, and if we can just save a bit of that time, operational time with the help of technology, and we can automate our processes where there can be things that can be resolved with the help of automation, then I think it's a boon to our business world. And of course, in our, if I can talk about my own experiences, when I joined Bajaj Group from Z5, I was part of Z Network for the last 10 years till 2022. And there again, we were serving customers, like OTT for that matter, also has a TV audience that we are serving to. They also have the OTT audience, the people who want to see their own like Netflix kind of content. Again, so we have to divide our cohorts in a way where we can serve every customer. And then when I moved to Bajaj, like I was mentioning, we have to deal with our farmer communities as well, and we have to deal with our modern youth, women consumers. So, of course, the technology really helps us to make our cohorts better and serve the consumers in a better way. So I think if I can go on to that, because it's
right.
Today digital is like endless. The experiences can get better and better. So I think I can ask others.
Thank you, Suruchi. I think, I completely agree with you. Technology is a boon as long as it is being used in the right spirit and the right place, right? I mean, let me share my 2 bit on that. I come from a telco background and from a B2B and enterprise segment. And I've been working in terms of some of the digital transformations and had worked on the greenfield as well. So the way in which we are developing is, I think self-care is something which people were thinking, and there was an innovation 15 years back. The market and the things have been grown in terms of self-care to self-diagnosis. Can I or my network can do some kind of a diagnosis through an RPM or an AI, and then identify there are certain bugs, or can fix proactively without any human intervention. So I think my thought in terms of the entire digital transformation is from self-care to self-diagnosis to a self-healing. That's a journey which most of the IT and ITES or a telco is been working on. And the core to that is something on the inventory and the data which is there. So I think the network which has been deployed for any telco or for that matter has to have an integration in terms of throwing those kind of an alarms and the outcome-oriented metrics. So from a self-care to a self-diagnosis, yes, very much doable with your right set of inventory. And then this next stage is the self-healing. So technology definitely plays a critical and pivotal role in terms of enabler, and whatever we are seeing as a part of the social media, I think there is a technology back into it. So thank you, Suruchi, for this detailed answer. And taking a cue from your point in terms of the gathering of customer data and how do those analytics uses us. My next question will be to Mr. Hari Bandaru and Rahul in terms of sharing their bit that what are the strategies an organization employ to gather and leverage customer data, right, to enhance the digital customer experience while the privacy and security and all those compliances are in place. Yeah, over to you, Hari.
Thank you for asking for this question. I think most of the B2C companies are very happy because we don't have a regulation like a GDPR in India. So it is an open secret. Our number may be more than our relatives. It is there everywhere in this country. So the major areas where we need to focus, the strategies where we need to focus to make sure strategy on gathering the data and leveraging it for better digital customer experience. The first thing is we need to have a customer consent as well as the privacy. So when you collect the data from the customer, it is super important to tell him why we are collecting the data, what we are collecting, where we are storing. At the same time, we should take their consent where we are going to use it. So second one is we need to have a minimal data. So let's not have their wife data, or children data, or grandchildren data. So it is not required. So we need to have a very, very minimum personally identified information. We call it a PII data. So third one is, so let's build the secure system, the architecture, privacy by design. So whatever we have the application, wherever we are storing the data, that has to be designed by keeping in our mind security, integrity, or you call it encryption. So we need to have a such strong architectural designed solution to place over there. And we need to train the employees as well by whoever handling the data. Otherwise, it is likely to disclose and likely to be in the market. So other aspect is ethical. So you have the data, companies have the data, people, the corporates buying the data from the market, and they have the social, they are taking from the social platform. So we need to make sure the collected data we have to use ethically for bringing the better digital customer experience instead manipulating that. Other side is when we have a huge data with us, it is very, very important to have it in terms of, regular audit happening in our company, how the data being collected, data being used, data being archived. So these are the very, very important to have it, to see how our company is doing with the data, along with following the GDPR policies, California, consumer protection policies. So these all are, maybe half dozen policies or strategies to make sure we gather the data, leverage the customer data for better customer digital experience. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Hari. I think before I go to Rahul, just one point over here. The current data protection bill, which has been passed in the parliament, I think that gives us a lot of protection, and I'm sure we are evolving in that space. So I'm sure those privacy and other aspects are also being covered in future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good to hear that.
Yeah.
So
Rahul,
I tell you one
your
example. I tell you one example. So it is somewhere in my friend's company. One invoice they're supposed to send to one customer, it went to another customer. The issue was not sharing the invoice. Issue was sharing the personal information. So they're not bothered about the pricing or discounts. They all bothered about address, phone numbers as being shared to different person. So the companies are treating the personal information at that serious level. I think we also should start.
completely agree.
Yeah.
And most of the time, such errors have been blamed to technology, but it is not technology. Yeah, Rahul, over to you and your perspective.
Thank you, Dhaivat. Thank you. The question is around what is our strategy for using customer data? And the second part is how do we leverage all this customer data, right? See, in the telecom generation that I grew up in, the strategy had always been service downwards. What is our service? We sell network. So network is my service, my product. And our actions were mostly reactive. So there is an issue in the network somewhere, there is a fault, we go around, we check what's wrong there, we rectify it. If there is a customer complaint, if there is a customer interaction, then we again go out, we see what could have been the issue and all that. Now, Big data analytics now gives us the capability to turn this completely around and look at things from a customer upwards perspective. So this is the new strategy. You see, let me shave off the privacy data, okay? Let me slice that off. I mean, that would make my answer very long. But what is the data that we are really interested in is customer experience. It's a common knowledge that our devices, our mobile phones, they capture the customer experience all the time, okay? They capture what kind of power is being received. They capture what kind of radio signals, what has been my voice quality, what has been my data quality. Now you imagine you guys move, there's a data point generated. You guys talk, there's a data point generated. You roam around, there are multiple data points. Whatever you do, there are experience data points captured. First of all, do you have the capability as an organization to capture this every microsecond for hundreds of millions of customers? Number one. Number two, even if you do you have the competence to use this wisely and trigger it into proper network actions? That is the power, that is the magic which digitization and analytics is giving us now. And it's not very simple. For example, in this hall, let's say all of you are Jio customers, if I may say that. Half of you are facing network issue, half of you are not. What could be my action? Suppose there is a fiber cut nearby, there is a network outage nearby. What could be my action? You know, so there has to be complex algorithms developed to achieve the desired result. How do we leverage this? You see, all this humongous data, can you roll this up on a topology basis, on a geography basis, or to a network node basis? And then you apply your logical algorithms to understand what could have been the best possible, most appropriate, quickest fix to it. And then you sharpshoot those actions to the desired topology, to the desired geography, to the digital store, to an area, right down to a particular field engineer. This is what we have been doing. This is the power of analytics in improving the customer experience. It should be like that. A remote area has got an engineer, a field engineer. He logs on to a system of interaction, and he simply gets data-driven decisions delivered to him neatly every single morning. And he just has to follow those priority actions. Rest all is done at the back end. All the complexities designed at the back end and triggered to him in a very, very easy way. So this is an aspect, this is how we are leveraging. That's how we plan to enhance our customer experience. Dhaivat, to answer you.
Thank you, Rahul, and very relevant. I think we have plethora of data in the system. How are we using it? How relevant are we using it? And is it helping my customer in terms of a quicker resolution or a faster resolution is something which is a key thing. Thanks, Rahul, for getting this point. While we capture the data from the system, there is a data which we also capture from the customer through various CSAT, NPS, RNPS, TNPS, and whatever name you can give it. So my next question will be to Neha and Ranjit in terms of hearing out that while we capture the data, how does a sentiment analysis and those data is being captured and how that has been useful in terms of driving the journey?
So thank you, Dhaivat, for the question. A very important question in customer experience kind of scenarios where client's feedback is very, very important and it plays a pivotal role. So because the customer should also feel that they are valued at the end. And because when they give us some feedback, we do our system changes also according to that. So the sentiment part, I must say that though it can be taken offline, online, any mode that we want to do it. But now that we have tools in the market to capture the sentiments also. But practically, if you see, when we talk to any irate customer, we come to know that what kind of, the sentiment he is coming from. And then it is very, very important for us to take a right action at the right time. So sentiments definitely play a very important role. We also have to see to which level of escalation it has come to. From the groundwork only, if everything is very perfect, then it will not go to an escalation level and customer will not get irate. So definitely the role, the kind of learning, the training which is given to the in-house team, that also plays a very important role, because the right kind of approach is maintained from top to bottom, then it is definitely not going to give any grievances in the customer experience kind of a role. So I would definitely say that the feedbacks from a customer that we get, they help to shape up the business, they give us some comparative analysis, they also help to build our systems quality better, they also help us improve on our skills, they also allow a lot of training path for us and do a lot of framework around the customer experience strategy. So yeah, the digital era is definitely there, but I feel we still are quite far from it. Because in our kind of an industry, if you see, I'm coming from a broking background. We still have only 3% of customers who are traded clients of the entire population. So we have a huge chunk of people yet to enroll, and we are only having around 10 crores of broking accounts. So out of that also, we have only 3% of the total population. So you can imagine that the education is really required in terms of digital channels, other omni channels. So we definitely keep pushing our clients to come to these platforms, but still a personalized effect really makes a lot of difference. So there are clients who want to come and meet in person only. Not everybody want to come to digital platforms. So there are also a lot of companies who want to have an offline mode. They still need presence of offline. They still have a lot of branches. So that mode is still, not going to disappear. That's what I mean to say. So how many channels keep coming and going, that is definitely a requirement. But how many people adapt that, that is another question. So that's what I feel. Then maybe he can give his views.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Ranjit, before you step in. So I think Ranjit will have a different perspective in terms of, because he must have felt some of those sentiment analysis while he is on an offline mode, right? You have a different set of customers which you deal with. So it will be interesting to hear from Ranjit that, so he comes from Ninjacart, and as you know that they deal with farmers and I think let me not steal the thing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. So our customer segment is very diverse. We deal with, our customer base is farmers, traders, pushcart vendors, the kirana shops, right? They all speak very, very different language, and all this entire ecosystem runs out of word of mouth and trust. So it's very hard to build the trust, right? And yes, of course, all the brands are running out of CSAT surveys when they call NPAs and all of that. If you look at it, the success is about 5 to 20%. It doesn't cross more than that. The remaining customers are least bothered even to do a survey, right? So we felt that it was very hard to crack it. Of course, when customers share a feedback, we call them, ask them, whatever it is. So, and our segment is very diverse, as I said before, and we are in a very competitive environment. When I paid a fee visit for our customers, we had a lot of interesting stories. Your delivery starts about 5 o'clock in the morning, but your contact center opens at 7 o'clock. Immediately we went went back, we felt that yes, we have to change what our customers felt. But I asked him, you could have, complained to us. But I said, no, I'm so busy in this my world. Why do I even complain, right? So then we started paying a lot of visits. But of course, we cannot cover the entire region. But what we tried to do it is we started a small story in Ninjacart, something called as customer stories. We really wanted to every guy in Ninjacart to be very customer obsessed. It can be an agent who is working in the call center, a guy who is coding, from the product, from marketing, everybody to breathe in that, right? So what we did is we went, whenever customer is telling the stories of giving us a feedback, we recorded that, we put on in the center of the floor. Everybody, someone walks in, he can really feel the sentiment what the customer is, expressing, right? So they all breathe in and out, and that's what, we're trying to work on it, and it really worked out for us. And of course, we are also dealing with large volume of data in terms of, surveys and all of that. We have a lot of automation in the market, putting sentiment analysis and all of that. It gives a lot of insights, what the customer wanted it, how your product UI has to be there, when the contact center has to open, or what language we should speak, right? I mean, customer will be in a different language, because in India, every 350 kilometers you travel, your language changes, consumer behavior changes. So we have to adapt to it, and feedbacks helped us to scale, feedbacks helped us to improve better, to survive in this competitive environment. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ranjit. Quite interesting. Mr. Shankar, I'll come to you in a bit. But before that, a relevant question to Suruchi, if you would like to answer, because you have a media experience and now getting into this Bajaj. How do an organization ensure inclusivity with the diverse need of a customer in this hybrid environment? Your thoughts?
Yeah, so while we are talking about the hybrid world of work, I think the challenges are many, like we are all talking about. Every customer is speaking different language, they are coming from different backgrounds, the experiences that matter to them are different. But again, that is what we've seen, and that is where we have to reach, like Neha also mentioned that we are far from reaching the digital era, and there are steps we need to build on as we move. But of course, I would like to say that even experiences that our employees, for that matter, could tell us, these are all insights that we can gain from every customer. We said here, if we have all these customers in front of us, little things, nuances that would matter. And if we can understand our normal audience or human relationships better, then we will be able to deal with our customers in a better way. I think that is something where we can try and move the digital the guidelines towards human relationships and understanding our customers better. So that can really help is what I feel.
Okay, thank you, Suruchi. I think Mr. Shankar, the important question is with you now. So while we discuss about the feedback, the customer sentiment analysis and so on and so forth, how an organization can build a customer experience journey, and how it is important to interlink between CX and EX. Your thoughts?
Thank you. It was very engaging and nice to listen and absorb so many good thoughts that people talked about here from their own experiences and what they have built. It would be injustice if I say that I'm going to present something new. It will be maybe an amalgamation of all these, because the tools are accessible to all, the ways are the same. Here on customer journey or mapping of that and using it truthfully, first thing I would say that the journey is as important as the destination, and sometimes destinations are just milestones, or rather the journey itself is the destination. So how pleasant is the journey is how the customers are going to remember us. So one framework we use around here is to drive the entire organization is to first try and see ourselves just as the customers do, because oftentimes we make this mistake of thinking this is what we stand for and customers look at it differently. Then wiring the customers as a second element into all the decisions. So when you are taking the decisions, have you taken customer feedback or feedback from the representatives of the customers who represent them? Often in the case of insurance, it is the intermediaries, because insurance is sold from business to customers. Then, the day we stop innovating is when we become stale, and innovation need not be always large scale. It can be simple solutions. So innovating, but innovating continuously at a scale. And then finally, driving accountability at all levels of the employees, be it from the frontline executive to the person at the top. If you have a program there, some of the people presenting earlier talked about the CX program. So with these 4 pillars, then a strong table like this maybe stands up, and it can take weight of all the things over there. So we do employee design thinking. Friends here talked about developing personas and then developing the customer journeys around that. The personas in insurance are more or less many times mixed, very difficult to separate the persona. And I would also not go into saying that an online persona is necessarily different from an offline persona. The same person, maybe at times online, the same person, maybe at times offline. Important is how we take the inputs that we get. So if we have a continuous feedback mechanism, and also we do sufficient immersions to identify the correct themes and the correct pain points. And then of course all the steps of design thinking which would be there after you gather the insights, you come up with your themes or you come up with your pain points, you do the ideation process, you do the solutioning and you shortlist some solutions, do the prototyping, then test them, and while implementing continuously tune them to come up with the final solutions which will work out. So to share some examples, like we found some areas which were pain points for us. The customers while renewing had some dissonance on our website, and basis that input, we saw that maybe in our enthusiasm we were asking some information which was too much extra for the customer. So we reduced that steps to a simple couple of steps over there. Or based on customer insights, we saw the proposition to be able to maybe provide a build it yourself or a do it yourself kind of customer journey to customers to buy the product. So they need not take all that is there, which comes in a packaged insurance policy, but they can customize and opt for some things and opt out for something. So more power to the customers. So these are some ways which we involve customers. And goes without saying that happy employees lead to happy customers. And this is not my quotation, of course. But if we have to design for good customer experiences and good journeys, we have to look at the organization as a bandwagon, and if the bandwagon moves in harmony together, or it is going in all different directions, at that time the bandwagon is likely to collapse. So for that, it is culture which is important. That culture building is not a single day program. We, in our organization, have tried to build a CEO program, a customer experience officer program, everyone being responsible for the customer experience, having certain pledges and a motto around that, and not only just for parroting them, but by linking it to certain KPIs. So while you talk about those various pledges, in a way you are committing to a KPI. So for example, in insurance, if you say, I'll fulfill every promise without fail, it's talking about the moment of truth when the insurance claim comes in, or at the moment of the service. So have we been transparent and to empower and educate at the time of selling, and have we been able to then at the time of the claim settlement explain that, and how well do our wordings go, or how we simplify that. So building and thinking about all these, taking the inputs from employees. Also, when we talk about employees, I talked about frontline to the boardroom. While sometimes decisions may happen in boardroom, it's important to have local empowerment for people to take certain actions. So for example, in our branches, we do huddles where they pick up these themes of the feedback and they discuss and they come up with some smaller ideas also. And sometimes those ideas are picked up and brought up at the organizational level. So how these can have a change across. And for those employees who are really doing well for the customers and who are the customer ambassadors, recognize them in a structured fashion, bring them to the forefront as the ambassadors of customers, and then you have a cohesive program. So this way the EX and the CX do get interlinked, and we are able to drive really great value for the employees and for the customers. We are striving as every one of you are.
Thank you, Hari, and I think absolutely agree with your point. Employee journey, and I think the key elements to look at it is the alignment with alignment and the empowerment to the employee. goes a long way in terms of customer experience, right? And customer experience is not only one function's responsibility. Every touch point where customer is engaging, right from the acquisition to billing to collection to service to network to field engineer and whatnot, all those touch points define some or other perception and the brand image. So I think employee experience is the key and it's very important. Thank you.
One thing what happens is we see that we expect a lot from brands and organizations, and when he has to serve, he calls up at the call center and perhaps he is the lowest paid guide in the entire organization. So what empowerment or what training has been
and
given?
Also outsource.
Yeah, and there too, can he take any decisions at all, or at least his managers? I mean, typical things which we would see is like talking about saying that I am empowered to take the supervisor or I cannot escalate. So simple things which you can do, like we have put escalation on demand. If a customer wants to escalate, then it is his right. Do not deny him. Then, for example, if there are certain changes to be done, at least at the manager and the team leaders level, you have certain empowerments, or at least listen it out and take it to the next level rather than quoting policy. So these things do transform experience, and it takes time to build those.
Absolutely.
I have two personal
please.
incidents with customer experience in incident sector. Whenever I get the call, they always threaten me, "Kali mar jayega aap, insurance le lo." गाड़ी से उतरेगा तो मर जाएगा, इंश्योरेंस ले लो. I always ask the insurance guys, भाई मरने के पहले कुछ मिलेगा तो बोलो, सब कुछ मरने के बाद मिलेगा. So we don't get good, good information or good policies or good experience which we can get,
Life insurance is for yourself, and of course that is what they call, one of the brands called Zindagi ke saath bhi aur Zindagi ke baad bhi. But your general, the other things is for everything, from any of your beloved small belongings to big belongings, or for your health, I mean, which is the ultimate health for the entire period that you're carrying your body in this mortal frame for this lifetime. So that also needs to be protected. So insurance covers everything from a pin to a plane. Maybe, yeah, that's right, we have to paint a negative picture at times to frighten and get the customer, but it is something which comes, and today insurance is shifting from only protecting to also preventing and taking care of ecosystem of services. It is no longer pure play insurance or such, but the services you provide around that is taking the larger share of the pie, and if you're not providing that value-added services, then you'll have difficulty to be in the market if you're not innovating.
Thank you, Hari, for your thoughts. Okay, I think we are having a couple of minutes more. Just to sum up on the entire thing, and you guys have heard, and I just wanted to leave some thoughts to all this learned audience out here is, chatbot, write to us, reach out to us, really is helping our customer. Customer actually see through the chatbot, and he actually look at an helpful assistant rather than reading those FAQs and then trying to figure out what options to be selected, right? I think the true innovation and the digital experience lies in terms of cultivating that genuine and immediate support with responsiveness and a user-centric approach. So I think that's where we should aim to reach somewhere with the help of technology and the, of course, employee journey and employee X. So that's all from our side. I think we have still few minutes left out for any questions. We are happy to take it. Thank you everyone for your patience listening, and I'm sure those insights with a diverse thought process must be helping you somewhere or other in terms of picking up some cue or some development back to your workplace. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sajal Kumar from Z5 to join us on the stage and kindly felicitate all the panelists and the moderator.